Okay, good morning. How we doing? How we doing, YouTube? Wow. I was getting ready to come on this stream this morning, and I was getting ready to say to all of you, welcome to the bear market. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was getting ready to welcome everybody into the bear market. There was doom and gloom on its way. And then Trump says talks with Iran have been good. Boom. 100-point pop on the S&P 500. Actually more than that. 200-point pop on the S&P 500. Which now is settled in. It's up about technically 118 points after hours. It popped about 175 from its low. It was down before that. So, wow. What's also weird, by the way, just to note, is that over the weekend I was reading a tweet. Somebody, a little internet sleuth, had figured something out. Essentially, what they had found is that somebody had made a series, or there was a bunch of accounts, I should say, that made a series of bets on the prediction market that the war would end by the end of the month, and it totaled like, I don't know, $200 and something thousand, total payout over $1 million. So I saw that and I was like, oh, I wonder if we're gonna get some news in the next week. And not even 12 hours later, here we are. So, holy crap. That's all I can say. Yeah, that's nuts. The VIX literally, by the way, dropped when that happened from 30 down to 20.28. It settled in around 24. The 20.28 was really just a wick down. But it settled in around 24, which is just incredible. Incredible. So no, welcome to the welcome to the bear market introduction this morning. We are fighting off the bear market here. Barely. It looks like the low, by the way, that it capped out 64.83. That is the new bear market level, 64.83. And that's just really from that wick down. I think it'll overcome that fairly quick. Anyway, without further ado, let us jump into what are we looking at today. So, daily chart, good. Our chart on ES. Let's mark out our pre-market high and our pre-market low because we love to do that. Pre-market high. Yeah, I know, bud. Pre-market low. Booyah. Okay. We got a wide range that we're trading in today. There will be a gap fill to the downside. I do like that. I will keep an eye on the gap fill to the downside. Other than that, just watching pre-market high and low there. Okay, nothing that I love on the Apple chart here, but I'm going to look at the 1 hour. Let's see what we got. Low of 245, high of 255. It does look good above this 255. Okay, there's my alert. It's in. AMD, let's go to AMD now. Obviously, everything's popped a little bit. We can probably redraw this trend line here. For now, it's now a 3-point trend line to the upside with it being redrawn here. I'm okay with doing that because of it was only a 2-point trend line touch before that. So we'll see that. To the downside, AMD still has this 186.50 level. To the upside, it's got the gap fill above 220. Both look like really, really good plays. But I don't really like anything else outside of that. Maybe above this range and above this. Let me look at the 1 hour chart. Yeah, above. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's try to redraw this slightly. Let's start on the 4 hour. Maybe that'll help. Good morning. How we doing in the chat? Thank you guys for joining the stream today. We've had a crazy pre-market, that's for sure. Okay, trend lines redrawn. I do like it above this level here, the pre-market high. Amazon, let's see what Amazon's doing today. Yeah, Amazon doesn't really have much on the chart. Google, let's see. Everything's kind of just ranging right now a little bit. Meta, I'm just going to get rid of this trend line. It just looks like shit now. Yeah, everything's starting to pop, though, on the 1 hour chart, which is good. Microsoft, NVIDIA, Palantir. Wow, look at Palantir really consolidating here right along this trend line. Kind of crazy. I wonder how let's see how Palantir did with that. Yeah, Palantir didn't pop as much as some of the other stocks with the war ending news. No surprise, obviously. They've been obviously the larger beneficiaries during the war here of increased stock prices. So I don't think that they're going to pop too much on news of the war ending. As you can see, that does look to be the case here. So I don't really like Palantir. I'm not going to trade Palantir for a little while, probably, to be completely honest. And then Tesla here. Tesla looks good. Oh, we have a little gap here on Tesla. I didn't even see that form. This looks like it's from Friday that we've got a little gap on Tesla. Let's see exactly where this level is, because I like this. 392, 387. Okay, we got about a $5 gap there on Tesla, which is good to see. I'm going to mark that out and make that an alert, because I could very well trade that maybe later this week, depending how the stock price moves. I'm going to really just watch Apple and AMD. No, AMD and Amazon today. No, I lied. I said it right the first time. Apple and AMD. That's what we're going to watch today. So let me pull up these charts here. Just like those to the upside. To the downside, the only play I would take to the downside today is going to be the gap fill here on SPX, which is going to be pretty darn big. It's going to be a pretty big gap fill. I mean, technically speaking, by how much points it moved, it's going to be 100 and something points. We'll see if it actually ends up being quite that much, but yeah. And for the gap fill, I think I'll watch it below VWAP 6612 right now. We've got a lot of room down in the gap fill, so we don't need to rush it. Calls, yes, above 6,700. I agree with the sentiment there on your call there, Joel. I don't know if I'll actually take them above that level, to be 100% honest, but we'll have to see. Really excited to see all the opens this morning on my sold puts and such. That should be really, really good. So you're going to see me here in about 5 minutes when the market does open, just kind of scrambling to sell a bunch of these puts, because they're probably going to be up well in profit. And I like closing them out. Most of the time when I'm above 50% profit on them. There are some exceptions to that. For example, if I bought the contracts at only $1 and they get down to 50 cents, there's still a lot of room to run on those in a short period of time. So generally, I'll close those ones out. It just kind of depends situationally. Thank you, Joel. I actually forgot to talk about news this morning. So let's pull that up real quick. If we look at news from this morning, we do have construction spending at 10 a.m. It's not huge, especially compared to the news that we've had today. I don't expect that to do anything in the market or really be a factor whatsoever. We do have PMI tomorrow, import price Wednesday, jobless claims Thursday, and consumer sentiment Friday. So a little bit bigger news as the week goes on, but a fairly light week as far as news goes. And I think today is no exception. Today will actually be probably the lightest day of the week when it comes to news regarding, economic news. Obviously, Trump speaking this morning and commenting that the talks are going very well with Iran is really what's driven the market this morning. So anything else that's less than that is just not going to move the market. I want to see oil price. Oil price did drop significantly from 98 to 85. It's back up to 90 now, but oil price did drop. Let's see if I can get a live transcript of what Trump said this morning. I know he said something about talks going well behind them. Truth Social, that they had very good and productive conversations over the past 2 days regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and the tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of ongoing meetings and discussions. Wow. Okay, that does mean we may very well get an ending to this in the next week, which would be absolutely huge for the market and futures and everybody that's heavily invested. So, what do you know? All right. Not gonna be, by the way, a super long stream. I gotta hop off at about 8:40 today. So I'll only be on for about 10 minutes into market open. I don't know if we'll catch a trade in that time, but it'd be nice if we can. You'll see me sell a bunch of puts off at least, if nothing else. So we've got 50 seconds before the market opens, 50 seconds before the market opens, and the madness begins. How's everybody's weekend? Everybody had a good weekend? Anybody do anything crazy? Hey, I got alerts. That doesn't mean I'll only be trading for 10 minutes. It just means I'll only be on here trading for 10 minutes. Mars. Okay. What do we got? 3, 2, 1. Open us up, baby. Open us up. All right. We are open. Market's dropping a little bit. Futures dropping a little bit right at open here. Not as much of a gap up as I thought. It goes right into this gap from Friday. Looks like it's going to fill it right away. I'm not going to get a play here in the first few minutes. It's just not going to work. So I'm just going to hang the hat up on that one. Got to close out a few sold puts there. Wonderful to see. Love that. Wick down on the initial move there, and just holding even here. SPX is going to look like it's going to go up and fill this gap from Friday. I'm actually surprised it only moved up. I never understand these moves. It's only moved up like 70 points on a 110-point move. Kind of crazy. We are in sync. The first candle is nice. Volume pretty aggressive, to be expected coming off that big drop. Oh, excuse me, that big jump to open the market here. Gap not quite filled. They're probably left about 3 or 4 points left on the SPX gap from Friday. Market starting to move back down a little bit here. The most obvious move here is that it does move back down. It clears, some of the clears some into the gap fill, and then from there we may bounce back up and finish the day positive. But with a big upward move in the pre-market, especially one that technically did not happen because anything actually happened. It was just because of something somebody said. It's more likely, I think, to drop here in the middle of the market, and then we'll maybe pick it back up later in the day. That's what I think is probably the most likely scenario here. Palantir is leading the charge today, up 4%. AMD up 3%, NVIDIA 2.77%. What a big day. What a big day. Big day in the market. Out of sync technically was the NASDAQ and ES on the last candle there. NQ went slightly green. ES went red. Overall trend is down on both futures, though. Like I said, that gap never fully filled. But it's so tiny. I'm just going to delete it. It's like 3 points. I'm just going to delete the gap. There's no point of even leaving it on the chart there. SPX is dropping a little bit. It needs about 13 points to get it. I lied, excuse me. 19 points to get it into the gap fill to the downside. By then, it will be at about 66.25, which will be about 15 points above VWAP. I'd rather wait till it gets into VWAP, a few points into the gap fill before I enter that play, if I enter that play. That is most likely how I will take that. Seeing a bit more aggressive selling pressure coming in now. Apple really selling off. Apple was all the way up to almost 255, down to 252 now. AMD popped right up to my trend line, 209 here, and then dropped to 205. That was right at open. Some volatility to be expected here in the market early with the news that's going on. Not a crazy surprise to see that, to be honest with you. You all know that. Okay, we're seeing some buyers step in the market now. First time we've really seen them present. Okay, Joel, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I do have to hop off. I was gonna give it another 4 or 5 minutes, but I'm just looking at these charts, and the next 4 or 5 minutes, we're not getting to the levels I need. So I'm gonna set my alerts here at SPX at the start of the gap. 65.70. Below that, I want to get an alert, and then 6,700 on ES. Let's get a little alert going. Boom. There's my alerts. I will watch those today for trades to take. In the meantime, I got a few things I need to take care of. I will talk to everybody soon. We will be back tomorrow. I think I should be back on Twitch soon. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. But I think I got most of that resolved. Okay, we're getting a nice pop now. Nice pop here. Got about 40 points, though, still to 6,700. Appreciate everyone jumping on the stream this morning. Catch me on X for some big updates, and we'll see